lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
From Watkins Glen International Speedway, the Outlaws Sim Series Truck Series is ready to get it on right here in New York's wine country. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tony Trapassa Memorial Broadcast Booth. Dave Regal and Chris Murphy, the band, back together again, as last week yours truly was off, and we're ready to bring you all the action of the Outlaws Sim Series Truck Series right here on Sim Racing Media. We want to thank all of you for tuning in tonight here on YouTube, and of course, tonight will also be live over on TikTok, but for those of you on TikTok, you're only going to get the audio side of this, so make sure that you check out Sim Racing Media right on YouTube.com. And Chris, as always, glad to have you with us because we'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. Chris, here we are ready to rock and roll with Joshua Reese sitting atop the timing pile.
Good to be here with you this week, Dave. Missed you last week, buddy, for sure. Got was out here for Outlaw, my first Outlaw Sim Racing Series last week at Vegas, and like you said, Joshua Reese on the P1 right now, provisional P1. He was really strong last week at Vegas and ran into a little bad luck. Ended up not finishing the race, but if he shows anything like he did last week, I expect Joshua Reese to be up front all night long. So right now he's got about 0.4 of a second on the field, so he's looking really strong.
Yeah, that number 1 Monster Energy Chevrolet Silverado is just turning its final lap here as he went 1 minute 13 seconds, 0.78 at Watkins Glen. And this is a very technical track. We talk about road courses not really being our bread and butter, especially in the truck series. However, to me, Watkins Glen has to be the most fun that we have on iRacing.
Oh, by far. Watkins Glen's always been one of my favorite tracks. Heck, I think I've raced on Watkins Glen going all the way back to like NASCAR 2 in the late 90s. It's always been one of my favorite places to be at. I kind of wish they'd run the full 11 corner course instead of just running this little short inner loop with only 7 turns. But if any of the excitement we saw in practice has any inclination of what we're going to see, I don't know why I can't pronounce that word. I don't even know why I tried. But I think we're going to see one exciting race here tonight for sure.
I mean, I'm just proud of you if you're taking a stab at it. Not everybody is the eloquent orator that yours truly is, and I understand that. And I just threw eloquent and orator right here. As we pull up that beautiful bean footage, let's take a look here at our race information. 50 laps around here. Of course, Shane Cochran not with me tonight. Obviously, nothing wanted to transfer over. However, 83 degrees the outdoor ambient air temperature. That track temperature, though, 120 degrees under the sun to get around this 2.42-mile road course. And, here's the thing. I usually don't like a road course. I'm very traditionalist when it comes to my stock car racing. I much prefer to be, on an oval, especially with trucks. I'd like to be on a short track or an intermediate track. But these trucks and this new body style that they've had the last several years really boogies around this place well.
Yeah, and like I pointed out, just about every broadcast I've been at, I'm kind of old school, kind of because I'm old. So you know what? But even back in the 70s and 80s, NASCAR was predominant on road courses. Riverside was a big track they used to run on Sonoma, and then come out to Watkins Glen back in the 80s. So a lot of experience here for a lot of these NASCAR crews, all the way coming up here into New York.
Yeah, and you know what? This is definitely one of those tracks that I love watching. We're going to see a lot of action coming off the back straightaway out of the S's into the bus stop. And, to me, that's where it's at. I love having to come, basically you're in 4th gear, you're running full hard down to the bus stop, and all of a sudden you've got to get it almost down to 1st gear to roll through the bus stop. And then you're in a carousel. You come down here right toward where Josh is here in that penultimate turn to get out of that last straightaway before heading back to the front stretch. I mean, this place is so technical. It's so good, and it's so fast. And I can't wait as qualifying is wrapping up. We're going to take a look at that starting lineup momentarily. Josh, get off the track. We've got things to do. We've got business to attend.
Hey, he's just warming up, keeping the engine warmed up a little bit, getting ready for the start here. I'm still trying to figure out why they call it the bus stop. I never could get my car to come to a stop there, and I never saw any kids. So,
you know what? I'm gonna have to find out why they call it a bus stop. They do the same thing at Charlotte when they run the Roval, and I have the same confusion.
I'm just very happy with myself that I stumped you this early on in the broadcast.
I'll work on it. Don't you worry. Just waiting for. I don't know why open qualifying is taking so long to finish. Everybody has cleared the track. We've got drivers down in the pits. And Barney the flagman's waving the checkered flag. We got a grid, man.
I think we got about a second left to go. I think it just...
I have 11 minutes and 52 seconds. There it goes. Once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in over on TikTok. And if you're on TikTok, make sure you head on over to Sim Racing Media on YouTube.com. Make sure that you give us a thumbs up there. Give us a like. Smash that like button on both TikTok and, of course, over on YouTube, which is our home base here on Sim Racing Media. Let's take a look at that starting lineup. Joshua Ballier, he's going to sit on the pole alongside of Joshua Reese out of Josh Fox Motorsports. Ben Park going to be sitting on the inside of row number 2 with Brandon Combs to his outside. Dan Park and Forrest Hamilton Jr. going to be in row number 3, while Max Service, I feel like the name Max Service is somebody related to Meineke.
I was thinking more like Max Headroom, but
And Jeremiah Stutzman just won the paint scheme of the evening with the Yingling Eagle, founded in 1829 as the Eagle Brewery in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. He's got that beautiful Yingling Eagle all down. Oh, my goodness. What a paint scheme. We're going to be taking several looks at that tonight. Thank you to him, and he just bought himself some free screen time. Anyway, the 88 is going to be sitting right there in row number 4. Row 5 is going to feature Josh Fox and DEI's very own Kyle Lingerfelt rounding out your starting top 10. Starting in 11th position in row number 6 is Andrew St. Cyr with Matthew Byers to his outside. Row 7 is going to be Joshua McLean and Devin Smith. I feel like McLean is almost like McLean.
I was trying to figure out why you had a little accent to that.
McLean. Well, because McLean, like I love hockey, so I feel like in the absence of hockey season, we need names like St. Cyr, McLean. Think about it. Like they're working on that. And St. Cyr is Canadian.
I had to send a personal message to Andrew last week for butchering his name. I still don't know if I can say Cure right, but so anytime he gets towards the front, I think you just might have to take over.
That's fine. I'm pretty good with that one. But that puts Devin Smith in row number 7 alongside of McLuhan. Matthew Setzer is going to be starting in 15th position with Jonathan Byer starting in 16th. Adam Gardner is going to roll off in 17th position here in the number 56 Scooby-Doo machine. And in the 9 is going to be Ben Henry. Merlin Duran, is going to be starting from pit road, it appears. And Doug Salmus opting not to take the start. So it looks like Merlin Duran perhaps starting from pit road if he starts at all.
All right, so I got my first dad joke of the night. So I'm thinking there with Merlin. I hope he has a little wizardry if he's going to come from that far back in the field tonight.
Fair enough. I want to thank Puckle Liquor. Puckle Liquor has joined the TikTok. The TikTok. Are live over on TikTok. The iRacing.com pace trucks lights are off. They're going to pretend that it's not a Chevrolet, but we all know what that is.
Joshua Ballier on the, God, I'm really struggling. Josh Ballier on the pole here tonight. Also won last week at Vegas and is your current points leader here in the Outlaw Sim Series. Brandon Combs finished second last week and is also second in the point standings. So let's see if Joshua can stay out front. We have a battle of the Joshuas.
Well, if this league is anything like some of the other ones that I've called over the years, we're going to see somebody step away and just start lapping the field. Out of 19 cars, how many do you think will be on the lead lap when we come back? When we get to the end?
My guess is 9. Get an over-under from everybody out there in YouTube land.
Yeah. Put that on the poll, Guillermo. And if you don't know who Guillermo is or what the poll is, then you need to tune into the Dan Lebitard Show with Stugatz over on Meadowlark Media. Check them out. Love me some Stugatz. But want to welcome everyone in, however you may be listening, wherever you may be, as we're working on getting ourselves qualified to put the encoder on TikTok Live. Right now, the iRacing.com pace truck peels on down pit road, and that means, folks, the only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab your popcorn, your honey buns, and settle in. Race fans, it's show time! Green flag in the air, and off we go into turn 1.
Valley with a good start. He gets a couple truck lanes here on Reese as they're going to head down this long straightaway here into that bus stop she came for the first time. Valley, Reese, Park, Combs, your top 4.
Yeah, working their way through these S's is going to be really technical, especially this early in the race. But I'll tell you this much. This is one of those times where I can't believe, that everybody made sure to get themselves through turn 1 safely. And you know what? I think this is probably the coolest camera angle in all of racing. When you see all of these trucks lined up single file on a road course, and that sun is coming off that windshield just so. It just looks good as they weave their way down toward the penultimate turn. It's going to be Ballier, Reese, and Park. Everybody except for Lingerfeld and Byers through that top 10 has moved around. Lingerfeld and Byers up a combined 3 positions as Joshua Ballier comes through the final turn back toward the start-finish line, and he will get credit for leading lap number 1.
Yeah, and he's already starting to put some distance on Reese right there behind him. He already stretched out to about a 10 truck length lead. Ballet looks like to be the force here tonight for sure. You see him using up. I guess we don't really have any track limits here in the trucks at Watkins Glen, because you can see him using up all the pavement they can find all the way out to the end of the curbs and the walls there. But Ballet looking really smooth here. I'm actually kind of surprised just how single filed out the whole field is right there. I didn't see too many people fighting back and forth through the first couple of corners, so it looks like everybody's just going to settle in here for a while. 48 laps left to go in this, and just hopefully we can just get through this without a bunch of cautions.
Yeah, now you and I had talked, of course, one of my biggest fears a few years ago, I was calling a league which shall remain nameless because they were nice people. But a couple of years ago, I called a league that had cautions turned on, and it took 4 hours to complete that race. And you
wow.
make sure to yeah, that was a long night.
Yeah, I bet it was.
I consumed a lot of beer and nicotine that evening.
I believe the rules for tonight are manual cautions, and it has to be at least 3 trucks involved before they're going to throw one. So we might get through this whole race just green checkered. But Ballier already out there in over a 3-second lead on Reese here, and he is just putting on a show.
Ballier just laid down fastest lap at 1 minute 12.97 seconds, and went even faster at 1 minute 12.87 on the timing tower. So Ballier is starting to try to separate himself, but we've got a little battle going on here. Let's watch the 28 of Brandon Combs. He's starting to creep in on the back bumper of Max Service in the 81. I feel like Max Service is what I got at Mavis Discount Tire between Monday and, Friday and Monday.
Yeah, is it Hamilton there in that 81? Sorry, the 99 going to get up there in front of Max Service right now. Is Max trying to find a way around him here? Thought he had looked to the inside there. Nice shot back right there to Max's 81 Chevrolet.
Looking out the rear window of Forrest Hamilton Jr. out of Breckenridge, Texas. Breckenridge just sounds like the name of a prison in Texas. You know what? We're going to look that up and see if there's a prison in Breckenridge. I feel like there should be.
Isn't there a prison like every 30, 40 miles in Texas? You got to be. Your odds are probably pretty good. Nothing against our Texas viewers.
No, nothing against our Texas viewers at all. It's just the easiest place to get yourself arrested. And according to Google, NBC is canceling 6 shows in 2025. I really hope it's not Chicago Fire.
You're not supposed to be Googling right now. You're supposed to be watching a race.
You'd never believe it, but yes, there is a prison in Breckenridge. It's in.
We knew the odds were good.
Yeah, well, I guess you can't swing a dead cat in Texas without hitting a prison. It's a big one too.
Where the hell that saying come from? Why would anybody be swinging dead cats?
You don't just walk down the street swinging dead cats, no?
Not on the West Coast, my friend. I don't know what you people do on the East Coast for fun, but...
Did you just say you people?
You people, yes.
Hey, without us people, you'd still be out there not even knowing that there was an East Coast. We had to discover you. 2 guys in coonskin caps with a Native American woman in a canoe.
I don't know if I can argue that point right now.
Just remember, history is written by the winners.
As always. Hey, we got a race going on here.
Andrew St. Cyr right now, as to your point, here in the 12 trying to catch up to the deuce of Josh Fox. Now, we were watching Josh during practice earlier, and actually it was just about where he's approaching now. just nosed it right into the wall, and the one machine of Josh Reese went right into the side of him for fun. But right now, as far as I can tell, Josh Fox boogieing through this racetrack just fine and dandy.
I'm surprised they got that 2 truck back out there for this race after watching practice. I think they tore that thing up about 3 or 4 times. So, but it looks like he's keeping her straight right now, which is important. You can crash all you want in practice as long as you keep it straight during the race.
Yeah, thank God for the magic of iRacing. And because a couple of things there. One, if that was a real truck, he'd be fired. And 2, if that was a real truck, he'd be dead.
Yeah, the incident you spoke of is he kind of lost it, and then Reese, I think he saw a target on the door.
Stutzman's coming down pit road.
Oh, we got somebody in the pits already. Only 6 laps into this. I don't know what the fuel mileage is going to be.
It better not be that bad because, I mean, unless he's running on lager and hope, maybe he thinks with the length of this racetrack, if he comes in and gets fuel only.
Well, maybe he heard you bragging about the, his beautiful paint job on that truck and just kind of wanted a little more camera time, so he's off by himself.
I think that was a fuel-only stop, as it looks like
Sure
Jeremiah
was.
Stutzman. It sure was, as it's coming up on my screen there. Maybe he just needed to open up another can of Flight.
I just looked up at the leaderboard once again, and Ballet now over 8 seconds out in front of the field. A little sideways there off the corner.
Yeah, he's going to have himself a strong night here in the 7.
Definitely class of the field right now.
Hey, if you don't want to have any class, be in one of your own. Ben Park here in the 18, he runs in 3rd. He's about 0.6 of a second behind Josh Reese. Right now they're matching one another step for step, at least for the time being. I want to welcome everybody into the YouTube.com live chat. Let us know what you're watching here on the racetrack tonight. Of course, we also want to thank our friends over here on TikTok. Make sure that on both YouTube that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications for Sim Racing Media so you can be notified every time we go live right here on YouTube. And of course, over on TikTok, let us know that you're paying attention. Give us the like. Give us a follow. We'd appreciate that one greatly.
Just really surprised how everybody's kind of single filed out here. Nobody really trying anything aggressive. Reese just doing a good job of holding on to 2nd right there. Ben Park right there behind him in 3rd. The Park and Park show for 3rd and 4th with Benjamin and Daniel. Are we looking at brothers, dad and son? Do you have any idea?
I will have to find.
I guess I could say brother and sister. I just made an assumption there.
Well,
I guess it could be Danielle. I don't know.
You know what? That's a really good question.
It actually kept me up last night. I should have,
That's what kept you up last night?
As I was preparing for this race, I was just completely unsure.
Geez, you'd think after we went out to dinner that maybe you would have been, a little bit more relaxed. You know what I'm talking about.
I do like chicken wings.
I do love me some wings. I always get a little bit jealous of the guys who do this in the real world. And they're like, we were out to dinner at such and such a place in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, that's great. My partner lives in Oregon. Thanks.
We had a Google meeting.
Yeah, it was a Google meeting, all right.
Oh, who's off the track there? It looked like Brandon Combs in that 28 kind of took a little shortcut through the grass, but he gets it gathered back up, back on the track, pointing forward.
8 laps in the books right now, and drivers keeping themselves pretty calm. Overall, I don't think that this is going to be a bad race. I mean, for starters, these drivers are already really smart. They boogie around together week in and week out. I mean, look at these 3 trucks right here. The 99, and the 81. Now, if we go on board here with the 99, let's look out his hood for the time being. You can see that he's not really trying, at this point, he's not really trying to gain much of an advantage on the 3, just capitalize on those little mistakes that the 3 is making as we work our way through the S's, and this is kind of a cool part of the racetrack. This reminds me of one road back where I grew up. For those of you that are tuning in from Pennsylvania, Charlottesville Road, they're in Penn and Upper Burn Township. But as he gets through there, you can see that he's not really trying to goose it. He's really not trying to edge in on the 3. He's just trying to match him step for step. Wear him out, get him tired, at least for the time being. Now, as we look out the back window here, we can see the 81. This one, I think I could say, at least if we go to the hood here of Max Services, number 81 Chevrolet Silverado, he looks to the inside now of the 99. He is definitely trying to gain a little bit of momentum here and close that gap.
Yeah, last week at Vegas, Max started up on the front row, fell to the back, and charged all the way back through the field. So I'd expect Max here. If the 1 week I watched him, it was any sign of his aggressiveness, he is going to try to find any advantage he can here, try to find his way around Hamilton. And like you said, he's put as much pressure on as he can. And then, as we say that, Hamilton's starting to close up on the back as well. The park right there in front of that 3 truck. So
yeah, all of a sudden we've got a little four-way battle here. Little 4-way battle, and overall not a bad thing here. I want to thank everybody for giving us those likes over on TikTok. A rallying call was started by someone. Can't see who that is, but thanks for starting a rallying call. Can't see it on my screen right now, but 10 laps in the books, 40 to go here at Watkins Glen International. Folks, you're listening to and watching the Outlaw Sim Series Truck Series right here on Sim Racing Media. Dave Regal and Chris Murphy with you in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. And folks, for those of you that don't know, of course, my usual partner, Alan Bergen, has been designated for assignment on Wednesdays, and I have placed Chris in a state of dibs.
I'm still undecided how to feel about that.
I would feel pretty stout about it for you. I mean, everybody knows I'm kind of picky.
I can say that I have enjoyed every night we've been together so far, so I'll accept the state of dibs.
Wow, watch the 5 blow the doors right off the 95 as now he's going to work his way toward Joshua McLean. The 95, the 5 didn't come down pit road. It's almost like the 95 just gave that away.
Yeah, they don't. Devin Smith had a little trouble there in that 95, and Setzer just took advantage of it. But you're right, he just went by him like he was parked.
Thank you for starting that rallying call again. Appreciate that. Now I'm going to move that window over so I can see who's doing it.
I don't. What is her rallying call?
It's over on the TikTok. Watermelon just popped in. Welcome. Joshua Ballier here in the 7 leads the way. Joshua Reese running in P2, now nearly 12 seconds behind. Check that out, 11.76 seconds, now 10.93. There is a severe, there it is, 11.92 seconds.
Yeah, Ballier just missed that last one right now. We got a good battle going there for second between Reese and Park. Excuse me, Ben Park. I better be specific.
Thank you for that rallying call. And, of course, I want to thank everybody here, Warrior Rebex and CC the Sheep Padoodle. I don't know what a sheep padoodle is, but I feel like that's something that you wind up in the Breckenridge prison for.
I'm just glad that you're pronouncing this stuff and not me.
I'm just reading what's there on the old screen. Dan Park running in third and fourth position right now in the 3. The 81 of Max Service rounding out your top 5. Forrest Hamilton Jr., he's running in 6th position right now, while meanwhile it looks like Brandon Combs, Kyle Lingerfelt, Josh Fox, and Andrew St. Cyr round out your top 10. Things starting to get pretty separated overall. As closest battle right now between Dan Park and Max Service. Max Service, as we look out from the nose of his machine, just about a second behind, and for a minute it looked like he was trying to close some of that gap, but now as we head back down the front chute here on lap number 13, Max Service may be maxing out the rubber on those tires.
Yeah, looking through the intervals, and just about all throughout the field, everybody's separated by about a second or two. Not really any close battles on the track right now. But everybody keeping their cool. We haven't seen anybody, just a couple trucks off in the grass, but nobody really making any big mistakes. It doesn't look like anybody's really pushing the boundaries here just kind of settling in here. I think maybe, you know, if we can get halfway through this, or, you know, I think maybe we'll see some guys pushing a little bit harder. But right now, I think everybody's just trying to get to a halfway point or a little further in this race.
I'm not mad at it. They're racing a clean race right now. Everybody taking their time as we welcome in all of our friends over on YouTube.com and, of course, here on TikTok Live. Old Whiskey checking in, Red Owl 3663, and Mike Barrera. Mike Barrera, that sounds like the guy who does the Fox Sports officials analysis. How in-depth does a sport have to be on television that we have to analyze the officials?
Well, somebody's got to analyze them, right?
Yeah.
Like we're getting a good battle shaping up here with Park and Service. You know, we were watching this battle earlier, and it was a 3-truck battle with Forrest Hamilton, but he has fallen way back off the pace of these two. But Service is definitely. Service looks a little bit quicker than Park. I think Park's just kind of holding him up. Let's see if Service can find a way around him.
I hope it's fast service. I hope it's good service. Good and fast service. That's usually a Friday night down on Essington here in Philly.
If it isn't good or fast, it is max.
Oh, it is definitely max. That's when you know that you're getting the best bang for your buck, if you will. Thank you for lighting those up. We appreciate that. Getting a pretty big deal right now. Haley Elizabeth checking in. Welcome in, Haley. And right now, Joshua Ballier has now opened up a nearly 14-second gap here. And you know what? I guess I'm at the point now where I'm thinking maybe my 8 cars, like that's what I was thinking the over-under for cars left on the lead lap at the end of this piece. Maybe my 8 cars was a little liberal. Nicely done checking in, Mimi Young.
I said 9, so I think we're at the pace that Ballet is going right now. He might just lap the field here. Now over 14 seconds out in front. I don't know how many road course races they have on the schedule here, but
I hope it's just one.
I think they have Lime Rock later in the year.
Well, now you had said that we were shifted off of Lime Rock originally for this. Now I'm checking here on the schedule. We go to Talladega next week. I'm glad that you're going to have Charlotte for 150 laps the week that I'm on vacation. But next week we've got Talladega, and if you think I get excited for the other races that we do, Talladega makes my juices flow.
I've been doing a lot of random Daytona and Talladega races, and I'm with you. And there's just lots of fun to cover. There's always excitement going on, so it actually makes doing this a lot easier, to be honest.
Mike Honcho saying the hometown track, baby, get her done in the 65. That's Kyle Lingerfelt. Kyle Lingerfelt, obviously out of Horseheads. And the Green Peak Toyota Tundra.
And we got Dylan D'Imperio. I'm not good with my Italian. Rooting for.
Did you say
for
Italian?
Number 6. Italian? What am I supposed to say?
Italian.
Yeah, Italian. Okay, sorry.
Italian. Well, I don't know. I've never had an Italian sandwich. I need to call the police.
Does it not start with the letter I?
It starts with the. So have you ever been to Italy? Have you ever heard of the country of Italy?
I stand corrected.
No, I come from the land of good Italian food, at least from my estimation. Folks, we have a YouTube.com poll. Is it Italian or Italian? And you all know what you need to say. Guillermo, put it on the poll.
Lingerfelt down into the pits.
Good save. The hometown boy here in Lingerfelt for the Green Peak Mountain Resort. He's going to come on down pit road. Ben Henry has been down on pit road since lap 12. I'm guessing he's done for the night.
I think he got tired, got out of the truck, and is just taking a nap up there in the booth.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, back when I was a racer, I feel much more at ease when I'm calling a race. Obviously, because it's not me out there. But you know, here's the deal. I feel like now I sound like Joe Biden. Here's the deal, man. You know, you work a full-time job, and then you got to crawl in a race truck, and you've got to deal with all these other people. David Majewski, or yeah, it's got to be David Majewski, checking in here. Now that's a Polish name. We don't call it Polish; it's Polish. But you know, like you climb into that race truck, and then you got to race 50 laps at a place like this with your elbows up for an hour and a half. Good Lord, you've got to be exhausted.
I was just trying to. If it's not polished, do they call it nail polish?
I wonder what they call it in Warsaw. Is it Polish or Polish? If you people can say Italian, then I guess it can be Polish. I'm saying
just asking the question.
Very strong.
You started. I'm just trying to clarify.
No, I understand. I'm waiting for now Dylan D'Imperio. Now Dylan's got now he's rooting here for the 6 machine of Joshua McLean. But I'm guessing with a name like that perhaps Dylan D'Imperio is Italian. Just guessing.
That's what I said.
You think Dylan D'Imperio is Italian or Italian?
I'm going to go with the eh.
Just
his buddy McCluner gets a little sideways there through the corner. He does a nice job of saving it, though.
Look at the Deuce and the 99 getting ready to go at it. The Deuce starting to close some of this gap. Neither of them have been down pit road yet. Closer and closer we go.
Yeah, Hamilton kind of fell back into his grasps. He was up there fighting up there with Combs. Actually, Hamilton was up there fighting with Service, so at some point in our middle of our babbling, Combs actually found a way around him for that 6th spot.
Well,
so Hamilton kind of falling back through the field here.
I mean, I'm starting to get a little bit curious here as we welcome in Breadwinner 6. The Deuce of Andrew Fox has really backed off of Forrest Hamilton. Now, Hamilton, just a moment ago, was starting to fall right into his clutches, but doesn't seem to be a problem now. As we get ready to come into the bus stop, watch these trucks going at it. Watch the 99 and the 2. Side by side they go. And out toward the carousel. No problems here. Joshua Ballier, still your race leader. 1, 2, and 3. Ballier, Reese, and Park have not exchanged position since the drop of the green flag. Now,
you're looking up towards the front a little bit for that 5th and 4th. Max Service finally finds a way underneath the damn Park. It's going to take that 4th spot away.
That's impressive. Let's go back to that. Let's pull that back here just for a brief moment, if you will. Watch the 81 get himself around the 3. Now he sets himself up as they come out toward the front stretch, and the 3 just gets a little bit loose coming out of that final turn as they cross the start-finish line. The 81 pounced like a lion in the African desert and just got himself around.
Yeah, Max has been sitting back there behind him now for a good 10 laps in this race, just trying to find a way around, and finally just took advantage of a slight little mistake. It didn't take much. He's moved his way up to 4th now, up 3 spots. After starting back in 7th, he's going to set his sights on the other Park of Ben Park, up there in 3rd. Let's see if who's also right there fighting with Reese for 2nd. So we might have a 3-truck race here for 2nd in about another 4 or 5 laps if this continues.
21 laps in the books. We're approaching the halfway point here at Watkins Glen International Speedway. Dave Regal and Chris Murphy with you in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. You're watching the Outlaw Sim Series Truck Series live on YouTube, and of course the broadcaster-only feed over on TikTok for the evening. Kathy Schmidt checking in, Oreos checking in, and Tony USA. Howdy, y'all. Appreciate you checking in with us. Somebody claiming to be a child that I don't have. I don't know who Ajar Channel is, but it's not my child. It says, "Hey, Dad."
Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
Are
it's
they,
over-
are they
it's
looking
over
at your
on TikTok.
face on TikTok too, or are they just
Yeah,
having
yeah,
to listen?
it's my whole face. Yeah.
I guess I should pull this up here.
You probably shouldn't.
What for the YouTube viewers? What's the
It's Dave_SRM over on TikTok.
Dave? Oh, there it is.
Hey, Mike Honcho just checked in over on TikTok. He's decided that he wanted to see inside the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth and our fabulous fake background.
That is wow. That's a wonderful office you have there.
Yeah, I thought it was great. It's well appointed from the fine folks over at IKEA. Joshua
See.
Ballier is down pit road. We've got race action going on. And Ballier is going to come down and turn the lead over to Joshua Reese. Now, he's just a couple laps shy of the halfway point. As Dirt Racing Rewind followed the live creator. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Hey, that was me.
Oh, that's you. Ah, look at you. I didn't realize you were on the TikTok like that. Andrew St. Cyr now comes down. But yeah,
So
there's
this
an
is-
IKEA. There's an IKEA down the road. That's where I got that bookshelf. It came in 4,950 pieces.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm impressed.
It
I'm
didn't
impressed
come
you
with
were
any
able to put it
books.
together.
I have a guy.
So Ballier coming in at lap 22. You would think as far of a lead as he had, he would have stretched the fuel as far as he could, so he didn't have to
Nope,
make
you're gonna
two
have to bear
stops.
with
But
me here is- out. Where did everything go?
I can still hear you.
No, I know you can hear me now, but my
Oh,
this is absolutely the worst part about. You know what? I don't even know what. I don't know where it comes from, but all of a sudden my Focusrite just turns off. If I have to leave a review for Focusrite, it's definitely that.
so service now coming in for the pit stop as well. So it looks like this is about going to be our pit window. So this stays green the whole way. I think we're going to have two stops. If they're having to pit now at lap 22, 23, let's see if anybody can stretch it past halfway.
Curious to see
Reese now
what
out of the
Service
point.
does here, as he's going to get 4 tires in the tank of Go Fast.
I figured you were going to go with the max service in for service line.
You know what? I thought about it, but I feel like I would trip right over it. Max Service in for service. That's almost like Roger Ober. You ever watch Airplane?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
I saw it live in the theaters when it first came out.
I wasn't alive. I'm sorry. I feel terrible having to explain that to you.
I'm okay.
Are you sure?
I
If you
will
feel
get
some
by
type
one
of
more
way,
day.
I can. Okay. I mean, if you feel some type of way, I can absolutely send you somewhere where they might care, or at least where everybody knows your name. They're usually glad that you came. I don't want to say that they're always glad that you came, but
Sometimes, occasionally,
Yeah.
is okay.
yeah. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. Brownie checking in with us tonight. Columbia Dale Outlaw. Got almost as many viewers over on the old TikTok as we do here on YouTube. So make sure that you folks head on over to Sim Racing Media's YouTube page. Give us a subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you can be told every time we go live. Then, of course, save us here on TikTok Live so that when we get that encoder hooked up for it, now that we have qualified to get the encoder hooked up, you guys can watch these races right here on TikTok from your toilets. If there is one app in all of our phones in America that pretty much is universally scrolled on your toilet, it's got to be either Facebook or TikTok. I wonder
Definitely
which
TikTok.
has more toilet scroll. You think TikTok has more toilet scrollers?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I
Joshua Reese down into the pits now.
Joshua Reese comes down the pits. That's going to hand the lead over to Dan Park, assuming he doesn't come down, and he gets loose as a goose as he goes on past the pit road entrance. Joshua Reese now pulls the one to a blissful stop right here. And Ballier just laid down fast time at 1 minute 12 seconds again.
Yeah, almost a second and a half faster than any other lap, anybody else in this whole race. I think second behind him is Park with a 14.16. Oh, excuse me, I see Ben Park with a 13.94. So about a second faster than everybody else in the field.
Jamison and Miss G Norway checking in. 25 laps. We have hit the halfway period. So while that happens, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media, but don't go away. We'll go side by side over on YouTube, and we've got something real special for you right here on TikTok as we go ahead and take a break. 25 laps into the Outlaws Sim Series Truck Series right here on Sim Racing Media.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Glen tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back to Watkins Glen International Speedway. Dave Regal and Chris Murphy with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Want to welcome everybody in here on YouTube.com, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so that you can be told every time we go live right here on Sim Racing Media. And, of course, want to welcome in our TikTok fans over there, Rick Sherry Kubajeski. Oof, I probably butchered that, but I think I got closer than most would have.
Definitely better than I would have.
Kubiszewski, Kubajeski. In Polish,
I'm not even going to try.
In Polish, it's probably Smith.
That's why we work well together. I'll let you do that heavy lifting, and I'll just be over here and just throw in little tidbits every once in a while.
So come high school football season, I'll be calling high school football up in Pennsylvania's coal regions for a few weeks. I've been assigned 3 games. You can tune in on 105.5 WMGH or download the 105.5 WMGH app. Basically, anytime I see a microphone that's open, I just rush for it. But up in the coal regions, it's very Slovak and Polish heavy. Side by side, watch Ballier get around
He's
the
now
5. That's definitely
yeah,
a
he's
lap car.
now lapped up to the 12th place car of Matthew Setzer there. We watched Matthew earlier make a pretty good move, but even he's not having anything for Ballet. Ballet just gets around him. He just starts to drive away. So that is now only 11 cars left on the lead lap. Yeah, I think our number of 8 or 9 is definitely going to fall.
I mean, I had 8, you had 9. But anyway, up there in the coal regions, it's usually a 4-syllable name with ski at the end of it. So usually when I look at the rosters of the teams that I'm going to be calling, I spend a couple of days just checking out the names. Now,
56 at Av Gardner having some problems back there.
He came in on lap 17.
Yeah, he pitted quite a while ago. I don't think he's going to have a problem with fuel at this point, but he fell out. Oh, we got to truck around into the fence there through the bus stop chicane. Looked like the number 9 of Henry.
Ben Henry.
Yeah.
Now we've got to go to that, and then we're going to find out what happened with Gardner. But let's watch Henry here. Just overcooks it coming into the bus stop. And I'll tell you what, right there. If
just
we
catches
go
that
back,
curb.
Yeah, that's all it really takes. In fact, we're going to go right on board here on the nose. And boom, boom. If you catch any of that grass, oh!
Yeah, he hit that curb so hard and he just lifted that left side tires up off the ground, and he just didn't have much control as he tried to come off the last corner there.
Now I'm going to go back to Adam Gardner here a little while ago. Now this is coming down the front stretch toward turn 1. It says he went off track. Oh. Yeah,
that'll do it. Look at that. We're already completing each other's sentences.
Yeah, well, that'll do, donkey. That'll do. So it's going to be a while for Gardner. Gardner finally got back to pit road. Now watch this, folks. This is the magic of iRacing. He's going to hit that fast repair. 4 tires, and out the friggin' door he's going to go. Or not. Put the truck down. Oh, I think he accidentally burned an extra set of tires. Well, he's mad.
That's going to give Scooby and Shaggy a time to get some snacks down there.
Oh, I'm sure Scooby and Snaggy have plenty of... Scooby and Shaggy. Snaggy, I don't know.
Shaggy and Scooby. Snaggy?
That's the one. Yeah, Snaggy. It wasn't me.
Welcome back to the Joshua Ballier Show. Almost 30-second lead over Ben Park back there in second. We might... Park and Reese only about a second and a half away from each other, so we might have a race for second, but we're definitely not going to have a race for lead right now. As Ballet looks to put the 67 of Solms another lap down.
Joshua Ballier leads the way now. Ben Park in P2. Now, Park and Joshua Reese swapped positions, but here's the interesting thing. Joshua Reese, who was running P2 most of this night, he came in on lap 24. Park came in on 20, and let's just take a quick look at the pit strategy so far this evening for the top 10. Everybody coming in at different times. Not, like 10, 11, 7, 5, 4, 14, 9, 6, 7, and 5. Those are the current stint lengths. Let's look at what laps they came in on because, quite frankly, it's slightly confusing, but at the same time also, everybody thinks that they're going to do something different.
Yeah, well, but Ben Park coming in 4 laps earlier, a little bit of undercut, gave him enough of momentum.
Only Ballier and Sankor came in on the same lap. Ballier and
Lingerfeld back there.
Reese and Fox.
And Lingerfeld back there in 6th, came in on lap 16, so he's definitely going to have to stop a second time. It's possible Reese, Parker, Combs are in 3rd, 4th, or 5th could make it to the end, and some of these other guys have to stop twice. I don't think it's going to make any difference for Ballier, but it might make a difference for Ben Park in that 2nd place.
Well, we're going to have to take a look at that as the time goes on. The other thing I want to quickly peek at here is our race conditions. Check out these temperatures. The track cooling off now to 107 degrees. Outdoor ambient air temperature in the sim still 82. Now, the reason that I bring that up is as that track cools off, if we can get this track down to somewhere in and around 101, between 99 and 101, that will be almost perfect conditions for grip here at Watkins Glen International.
Yeah, right now at 107, it's I'm actually surprised we haven't seen more trucks get loose coming off the corners than we have, because the track is hot, the tires are slick, and it's just a little bit more of a handful, especially through these tight S corners and through the chicane.
Joshua Ballier doing a little Ballier dancing, if you will, once he gets this thing down into victory lane. 18 laps to go now. Joshua Reese, Dan Park, Brandon Combs, Kyle Lingerfeld, Andrew St. Cord, Josh Fox, Joshua McClune, and Forrest Hamilton Jr. That's your top 10. And look at Forrest Hamilton starting to creep in here on Joshua McClune.
Yeah, I'm looking one spot farther back as well at Max Service. Max Service was up there fighting from the top 5 earlier, all the way back here to 11th now, about to get lapped.
Watch Forrest Hamilton go for the... Oh! That could have been very bad. McClune almost throwing a block right in front of the 99. Now the 99 looks to the inside coming through the carousel turn. He might have an edge this time. Watch them go side by side. Nearly fender to fender down the straightaway toward the penultimate turn. The 99's going to have to check up early to loosen the front end of that truck up to make the turn. The 6, however, is going to have the edge coming into the turn and a good run off. But wow, what a great battle this is shaping into.
Yeah, back through turn 5, McClune got a little bit tight, pushed up the racetrack, let Hamilton get a nose up underneath. But he was able to get up and get enough momentum off of that corner to keep Hamilton at bay as they entered down the turn 6.
Love her story over on YouTube.com, or I'm sorry, on TikTok. Joshua Ballier, Ben Park, and Joshua Reese. You're watching iRacing.com action here on Sim Racing Media. Dave Regal and Chris Murphy with you here in the Tony Trepass Memorial Broadcast booth, as we get ourselves ready to be qualified to get our display captured on TikTok.
And we got Ben Parker, second place truck, into the pits there for his second stop. Max Service, Stutzman, Bayer, Service also came down in the pits for a second stop. So Ben Park pitting a little bit early here with 16 to go. So we're going to have to see what happens here with the rest of the field to see if Reese or Combs can make it the rest of the distance.
Now, Ben Park coming in where he does now, I mean, he's going to be the first where, obviously they were just a couple of laps short, as this is going to change that battle for 5th position here on the battle box. We can see that there in the lower right-hand corner, as he's going to just get fuel only and drive the rest of this thing out where it's got to be. I feel like, after that initial pit stop, that's when drivers can short pit, but I forget who it was that came in early in that first cycle.
It was Stutzman, I believe, that came in early and took gas early on.
You may be older than me, but you've got a better memory. By the way, we're at 8 cars on the lead lap. I think we both really whiffed on this guess.
Yeah, St. Cord just came down into the pits. Hamilton also, and that's just going to, Ballet just goes right past him, puts him a lap down while they're sitting in the pit area. But he's only a few seconds behind McClune and Fox as well to put them a lap down.
Want to welcome
35-second lead now.
Want to welcome everybody in over here on the YouTube.com live chat. Make sure if you're watching on TikTok that you head on over to YouTube.com. Look up Sim Racing Media. Give us a subscribe. Turn on those bell notifications so you can be told every time we go live right here on YouTube. You're watching the Outlaw Sim Series Truck Series live on iRacing.com. Dave Regal and Chris Murphy with you. The East and West Coast combine here. Appreciate you making the flight all the way to Watkins Glen. That's going to suck fighting spirit.
Love it, that part of the country this time of year.
I love it most places in this country this time of year. It's winter where Watkins Glen sucks.
We got Ballet down in the pits. Oh God, I age myself all the time. almost a collision there with Ballet as he comes into the pits. But in 1986, me and my dad jumped in a truck and drove from Morgan all the way to Syracuse.
I was still 2 years from being born.
That was back when it was fun.
When it was fun to drive? It's still fun to drive. It's just not fun to stop at the gas station.
Oh, back in those days, they used to have race car auctions all around the country, and those used to be a lot of fun. That's what we used to go do. But again, here's Reese. Reese takes the lead here from Ballier. Ballier comes out of the pits.
That was impressive. Now, Ballier, he's going to have to – he took that back from Reese, that is, and he just came ripping.
Yeah, and Reese is going to have to stop one more time. At least, yeah, Ballier just comes out on those fresh tires and just no challenge there whatsoever. And Reese knew it's not his fight. He wasn't going to do anything crazy right there. So we are lapped up to, well, because Ballier had to pit now, we're only lapped up. He's only lapped up to the 14th place truck, it looks like.
It's getting a little hairy here. We've got 13 trucks on the lead lap right now, so we've definitely improved on that number. So that puts us both back in the running for how many are left on the lead lap when we see the checkers fly with 13 to go.
Looks like we might have a race for 9th and 10th between St. Croix and Stutzman. Just looking at the intervals. The intervals. Nice shot of Ballier right there. Give him some screen time. He's dominating. He deserves it.
Joshua Ballier and Joshua Reese exchanging positions and going right back to where they started, while Dan Park has worked his way up here into 3rd position after qualifying in 5th. In the steel, that's 3 E's, not in a row. Chevrolet Silverado. Do you have any idea where I ripped that from? That's steel with 3 E's, not all in a row.
No idea. No idea.
You're a big fan of the 4077 mesh?
Yes.
So the episode in season 2 when Harry Morgan comes playing General Steele.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Bartford Hamilton Steele. That's 3 E's, not all in a row.
Never could figure out how he could come in and play a general in season 2 and then come back later in the series and come back as a colonel.
Well, it was season 4 and he was Colonel Potter then, and it's a whole thing. They basically assumed that people weren't going to binge watch it 50 years later, but here I am killing it. My favorite television series of all time.
In the 70s, we didn't know what reruns were, so.
No. In fact, primetime reruns didn't even exist. They went off air at, midnight. "12 laps to go here at Watkins Glen International." Were you a Colonel Potter or a Colonel Blake guy?
Oh, Blake all the way.
All right, you got three seasons of McLean Stevenson. See, I thought that it was more fun in those first 3 seasons.
Yeah, for sure.
I had an incident at the National Museum of American History in Washington back on Mother's Day weekend. They have the signpost. I'll have to send you the picture. But they have the signpost from out in front of the swamp on MASH.
That's cool.
With all of the towns and the directions and blah, blah, blah. So I'm standing there, and one of these poor volunteers is there trying to, get people interested in history. And he looks at me and goes, "Do you know much about this show?" And I said, "Try me." And he tried me. And then I taught him a thing or two. Such as which actor on MASH, I should say, was legitimately in Korea and from the town that he portrayed himself to be from.
I don't even think I know that one.
It was, hold on a second.
Oh, you had to go look it up now.
It's Jamie Farr, by the way.
Oh, I was thinking that might be true, but
No, it was legitimately Jamie Farr.
Yeah.
So Jamie Farr was really from Toledo. He really had eaten at Tony Pacco's. Ooh, the 18 and the 67 got a pass. There's a pass, but it's Doug Salmos, and he's already down a couple of laps.
I just flipped back to watch his battle with Max Service. He got around Andrew St. Cure. I say that I'm not going to pronounce his name anymore. I'm just horrible. But he is now working on Kyle Lingerfelt for that 9th spot.
I'm impressed. They've got my attention.
It's like about the closest race we have on the racetrack right now.
Apparently they sent a TikTok universe. I don't know what these gifts are that they are sending over on TikTok.
They're sending you gifts on TikTok?
That's what it says. It says someone on TikTok sent a TikTok universe to someone else. Apparently they're sending them to each other, not to me. Send them to me.
Gotcha.
Support Sim Racing Media. Get us off this probationary period on TikTok Live.
All right, we got a little bit of a race forming up here with Lingerfelt and Service. And they're kind of closing up on the back of that 88 and Stutzman as well.
And Pascual Gomez, nicely done, is hanging out with us here on TikTok. Thanks for checking in nicely. Alan Shago checking in. Joshua Ballier leading the way. We're back to 10 cars on the lead lap. Max Service anchoring that last one. I almost thought that was the Yellow Pages logo, but it's not. See, kids, now if you hang out with Uncle Dave and Uncle Chris, we'll tell you about fun things from the past like the Yellow Pages.
Well, thank you for that. I thought you were going to say Uncle Dave and Grandpa Chris.
No, Uncle Dave and Uncle Chris, you know.
Okay, all right, we'll go for that.
But they, kids, the Yellow Pages used to be a way that you would look for businesses in your local area, and you couldn't find one in Poughkeepsie if you lived in Philly. I mean, what do you sit on if you're short at the table now?
That's a good question. And if you were smart when you created your business, you had that your business start with an A. That's why you see so many AAs and AAAs, and so it was right there at the top of the Yellow Pages.
I've used a painting contractor here in Philadelphia, and it's AW Painting. And
yeah,
back in the day, they would have been, top 3 in the paints, top 3 or 1 in the paint section. And some of them even went as far as like in the restaurant section, they would put a menu, like a mini menu, on their Yellow Page advertisement.
And you didn't have any DoorDash at the time.
Yeah, you had a DoorDash. You had Dad go out and go pick it up.
That's right.
Or if you were lucky, it was a restaurant with delivery service that they didn't
like
charge you for. Yeah, you just tipped the driver.
We got Stutzman looking underneath Hamilton there for that 7th spot. Hamilton, we might have a 4-truck race here for the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th position before we get out of here. We got some racing going on.
I'll tell you what, the 88 and that Yingling Brewery Chevrolet Silverado just laced his way through 3 other trucks to get himself up into 7th position. He's running high on flight. Thanks for the likes, Rip. Appreciate you.
Hamilton just lost 3 spots in one corner. He is all the way back from 7th to 10th now. As Lingerfelt, Stutzman, and Service all go past him. And Lingerman got around Stutzman there as well, and it looks like Service is going to find a way around him as well as they head down. To start lap number, with 7 to go here. Let's see, I'm just looking up at the board too. So 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place have all only made 1 pit stop. So it looks like Reese, Dan Park, and Combs are going to try to stretch this out to just a 1-stop race as they stopped back on laps 24, 25, and 26.
Wow! Did you see that move through the grass for the 88?
Yeah.
I don't know what Stutzman just thought he was doing.
Yeah, it looked like he got a little bit loose and tried to save it and just chase it through the grass. But as we say that, there goes Service right around Lingerfelt for that 7th spot.
We're going back to the replay for the 88 and this pass in the grass that he didn't complete very well.
Did he try to do a daily?
A little.
A big Dale Sr.?
Yeah, he just drove right through the grass. There it is. It doesn't work well on a road course. I'm intrigued. See, I'm very intrigued with 6 laps to go. You know what, buddy? I mean, it seems like this race has really ripped past tonight. I mean, wow. Has really ripped past tonight as Joshua Ballier and Joshua Reese have just dominated most of this race. I mean, realistically, all things considered, I'm looking here, Ben Park would need to crawl back up into 3rd to make those top 4. Basically, Ben Park and Dan Park would have to swap.
Yeah, time goes fast when the company is riveting.
Yeah, I mean, it was either me or a stroke patient. I feel like I need to apologize in advance to anybody who's ever suffered a stroke.
Is that let me see here. What are we looking at here right now? So
Brandon
we're looking
Combs
at
right
the
here.
28 of Brandon Combs.
Yeah, Combs
Trying to close up on Park and Reese. So is that so Park looking to put the 6 of McClune a lap down here.
Here comes the 28. You know how hard this is to control that. Oof. Swinging a little wide there, fella. Watch the 3 of these trucks chase down.
Yeah, I'm looking back. 5th place Park just kind of sitting there by himself. So this is a race right here between Combs and Ben Park here for 3rd and 4th. Combs looks like he's reeling him in here. The eyeball test is telling us he's catching him down the straightaway.
Let's take a look here at that time delta. Actually, you know what? No, the time delta is not near as useful. Yeah, it looks like Combs is starting to run a consistently faster lap than Park, but then the other Ben Park is starting to close in on Combs. In fact, he ran lap 45 almost a half second faster.
I got my Parks confused earlier. It was Ben Park that was running up front earlier. Daniel Park now in 3rd. Combs is he's about to look like he's keeping about a second distance back on him. Makes up a little bit of ground, then loses a little bit of ground. But these like 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place all on older tires. They pitted way back on laps 25. So they're doing a good job keeping that truck in one place, and at the meantime, Ben Park back there not really making up any ground on him either.
Of course, the story of the evening has been this man right here, Joshua Ballier in the Wounded Warrior number 7 Chevrolet Silverado. 4 Chevrolets in your top 4. Where did he go? Did Ballier just lose connection? Oh my God!
He's still showing the leader on my board.
Yeah, but he's not being timed. Joshua Reese.
He's
my
out.
Goodness! Joshua
He is
Ballier.
out.
Oh my God! Joshua Ballier must have had a hardware failure, and he is now tumbling through the standings. He's down into 4th position. All of a sudden, he disappeared from the racetrack.
Yep.
Welcome, Romario, for checking in.
He is out.
Oh,
so now we've got Reese out. Reese, well, we still got Reese, Park, and Combs still trying to do this on a 1-stop. Let's see if they can finish this race on just a trickle of fuel. You can see Reese right there, and Park and Combs all within the same straightaway. So now all of a sudden we've got to fight for the win here, as Ballier was really stinking this race up. He was lapping the field. He'd lapped all the way up to like the 9th place truck. Now Reese is going to have to fight here as Daniel Park and Brandon Combs now can taste the blood in the water.
Joshua Ballier has to taste blood in his mouth right now.
Yeah,
He's
had
got
this
to be spitting nails.
As I was having a discussion with somebody the other day when I first started sim racing, we used to use dial-up modems. So if it had been back in the day, you could have said somebody picked up the phone, disconnected it.
Oh my God! You know, I remember 2 really important things when it came to the internet. One, my mom had gotten a separate line for her fax machine because she was working from home part-time toward, I guess it was about 2001, maybe 2000, 2001. So I remembered thinking, even with dial-up internet, that it was cool that I could be on the phone and on the internet at the same time. 3 laps to go. And then when we got cable internet at my dad's house, oh my God, I could talk on the phone and surf the web at light speed. I was killing computers with Morpheus and Kazaa, downloading nothing but Christian Science reading material.
Did my screen just freeze?
That, nope, that screen didn't just freeze. Joshua Reese just came past the start-finish line, and with that, the popsicle sticks are in the air. We're 2 laps to go. No, seriously, did your screen really freeze?
Yeah, my screen just froze.
But you're back now, right? You're not like, oh my God. Ballier is now down multiple laps and in 14th.
No, I just see my screen has frozen, so
Two laps to go here at Watkins Glen International. You're watching the Outlaw Sim Series Truck Series, and of course over on TikTok you're getting the audio radio version only with myself, Dave Regal, alongside my partner and brother from another mother, Mr. Chris Murphy, as you've got the East-West gang together. And with that, Joshua Reese crosses the start-finish line. The popsicle sticks go down. The white flag is in the air, and we race back to checkers. This has just been an impressive race from top to bottom. Joshua Reese was not who we were expecting to see pick up the W tonight. The story of the night was Joshua Ballier, and he just disappeared several laps ago with what we assume to be an internet or hardware failure. And now that leaves Joshua Reese, Brandon Combs, and Dan Park, your top 3, as he works his way through the bus stop. One more time coming toward the carousel. And as he comes down the hill into the carousel toward the penultimate turn, Joshua Reese has got to be one happy camper.
yeah, I've got this. It looks like I've got the same hardware failure myself. So,
oh, that's lovely. That's just what I want to hear from my partner.
it's all up to you here, brother.
Well, then I'm going to have to carry this the rest of the way. Coming into the final turn past the pit entrance is Joshua Reese in the number 1 Chevrolet Silverado. He comes down the front stretch, and as he gets to Barney in the flag stand, he crosses the start-finish line. And in a surprise move, Joshua Reese picks up the win here at Watkins Glen, followed by Brandon Combs and Dan Park on the podium. Ben Park finishes in 4th. Max Service going to come across the line in about a half lap. Ben Park comes across now in 4th. He's locked in. Max Service in the 81. This would tie up your top 5. And don't look now, but it looks like our final count was indeed your 9 cars on the lead lap.
Where's my prize?
I got nothing. I'll get you the same thing I got you last week.
Well, good run there from Max Service. He kind of fell way back there for a while. Back to about 12th or 13th, worked his way back up to 5th. A good run there for him. Combs up to 2nd.
Service comes across the line now. Lingerfeld coming onto the front stretch, coming under the Gold Bowling Bridge. Josh Fox going to come in 7th. Forrest Hamilton in 8th. And Jeremiah Stutzman going to round up. The 18 is pushing the 1. I don't know why, but I'm not mad at it.
So Reese ran out of fuel there at the end. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think they're just being good teammates. Let's go with the good teammate defense. As we're going to take a look here at our waiting for our interview waiting room. Let's look at these final results real quick. I learned this a couple of weeks ago, and this helps get in and out of the broadcast a little bit smoother. As we take a look at our final results, Joshua Reese is going to bring home the checkered flag. He'll be joined on the podium by Brandon Combs and Dan Park. Ben Park finishes in 4th with Max Service in the 81. Our neighbor from the north, he finishes out the top 5. Kyle Lingerfeld, Josh Fox, Forrest Hamilton Jr., Jeremiah Stutzman, and Andrew St. Cyr, another neighbor from the north. They round out your top 10. 11th goes to Joshua McClune with Jonathan Byer and Matthew Setzer in 13th. Doug Salmus in 14th. Joshua Ballier comes home in a very disappointing 15th. Adam Gardner, Ben Henry, Devin Smith Jr., they come home in 18th. And Matthew Byers and Merlin Doran are going to beat everybody to the beer stand tonight. But the story of the night really is Joshua Ballier just having his computer lay a complete egg with a hardware failure. And I cannot imagine the amount of frustration that he's experiencing right now. As we wait for our podium drivers to hop into the interview room, we want to thank everybody here on TikTok for tuning in, hanging out with us. And if you're watching over on TikTok, make sure that you head on over to YouTube to Sim Racing Media. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications. We definitely have spiked those views tonight on YouTube, so we appreciate all of you for tuning in tonight. As just waiting for these drivers to hop into the interview waiting room if they are so choosing, and if they're not, that's on them. But we'll give them about another minute here.
I can understand where Ballet, how he's feeling tonight. He's dominated this race. I've done that myself, where when maybe not dominated, but been out in front of a race and something goes wrong the last lap or two towards the end, and you end up not even finishing the race. I mean, this was his race by a mile. Nobody was even close to him. So really feel for him there. I don't think I think he's probably still going to come away from this race with the point lead after winning last week at Vegas. But again, I definitely feel his disappointment for sure.
And I believe Joshua Reese is now hopping in. Hey, Josh, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Buddy, listen, in a surprise move tonight, you pick up the win and bring the checkered flag home to Mount Juliet. But, wow, what a way to win.
Yeah. Sometimes it's rather to be lucky than being good, right? Yeah, I don't know what happened to Mal. I think he disconnected or something because my teammate Josh, he had him on his relative, and then he said he just disappeared. And then Max over the radio goes, "This race has been blown wide open." And then we saw him disconnect. I was like, okay.
Yeah, to your guys' point, I mean, we literally were hovering right over top of him, and all of a sudden his car disappeared, and I thought, oh my God, tell me that it's my connection. And I thought there was something on my end. So I was like, my hand was floating right above the mouse, ready to hit the panic button when I realized everybody else was still there. And I thought, oh my God,
yeah.
That's the worst time for hardware failure. But you managed to come after qualifying on the front row. You managed to come home in first. That's got to feel pretty good for you at some level.
Yeah. I mean, we had a good car all night. I think it took a little bit of strategy to get where we were by saving some fuel on the first run and saving a little bit on that last run. But, I think overall we had really good pace, just nothing for Mal, but I think we're definitely second quick.
And quick you were. Well, listen, man, I mean, a great run tonight, but before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank and tip your helmet to for this run tonight?
My teammates at Josh Fox Motorsports, Dan, Josh, and Aiden. Fortunately, he wasn't here tonight. Congrats to Dan, also on the podium. Good job for him. You guys for putting on the broadcast each and every single week. It's good to be able to pull out a win on the television screen. And also DHR, Kyle, Forrest, Devin, knowing those guys too. It's also a good race with them. Brandon as well. Good job to him on the podium.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations again on the win, and we will see you next week at Talladega.
Yes, sir. You have a good one.
You do the same. That, of course, the voice of your race winner. That's Joshua Reese, who picked up a surprise win tonight. Up next, and I believe you have him with you now, Chris, is Brandon Combs, who finished in P2 tonight.
Hey, Brandon, how you doing? Chris Murphy here. Good to have you here. Good race there tonight. Did you expect to get yourself on the podium there tonight after kind of starting, mid-pack, or excuse me, up towards, you were starting in the top 5 there, but did anything exciting happen for you tonight?
No, nothing really exciting happened. Just went ahead and went ahead and decided to just save fuel the first run to try to make it on a one-stop, and I saved probably too much fuel at first run because then the second run I had to make up just too much time back up, and then it just allowed the other guys ahead of me to be able to save fuel and not have that big time deficit to me. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it happens though.
Us in the booth, we don't really have the knowledge of what you guys are trying to do there, and we kind of questioning whether you guys were going to have enough fuel there between Daniel, yourself, and Joshua only making that one stop. But it looked like maybe Reese ran out there at the end. How close were you to running out?
I ran out as soon as I crossed start finish line.
Well, that's a good plan then. Hey, before we get you out of here tonight, you got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, just gotta say thanks to Kyle and Devin for getting me over here and running with you boys and having some fun. Gotta say thanks to you guys for having a broadcast over here. Thanks to Adam for everything he does. Still thinking about him and his family, that's for sure. Just gotta say thanks to Chip Bangers Racing, B&B Custom Baits, GFP, 0FG, FHP Consulting, Combs Cuts, Cobra Cones Fan Club, all you guys that do all the work in the background for us. And yeah, also just want to say it feels pretty bad for Mal there. He had this thing kind of locked up, and then iRacing decided to say nope. But yeah.
Well, appreciate you being here. Hopefully we'll see you again next week. Have yourself a good 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, you guys have a good one as well. Don't get in too much trouble, but drink some beers and shoot off some fireworks and have a good time and enjoy it with your loved ones.
Absolutely. That the voice of Brandon Combs, and we will do our very best to have a good 4th of July. But before we get out of here, let's check in with Dan Park from Jamestown, Indiana. Hey, Dan, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I sure do.
Buddy, listen, a great run for you tonight. I mean, you finished P3. You gained 2 spots after qualifying in P5. How does that feel? And overall, what do you think you can maybe improve on, and how does this feel to at least get on the podium tonight?
It feels great, but I kind of feel bad for Mal. Nobody had anything for him.
Yeah, I mean, overall, we were stunned when we saw Ballier fall out of contention when he obviously had what we assumed to be a hardware failure.
He said his system just like froze and it was nothing anymore. But yeah, it was definitely interesting. I started pushing it a lot more, trying to catch up to Reese, and I was like, now I'm really close on fuel.
Yeah, it's
I ran out
rough
coming off the funnel corner.
Yeah, I mean,
and then we all ran out.
Look, you guys managed to really pull this together. I mean, it's still a heck of a race. You still had a great performance tonight. But, there's always going to be next week. And, of course, we head to Talladega. And we're going to go, of course, restrictor plate racing. And me personally, I can't wait for that. But before we cut you loose and before we turn our attention to Talladega, who do you need to thank and who do you need to tip your helmet to for this run on the 3 truck tonight?
So I got to thank the JFM teammates, Reese and Josh. And then I got to thank Michael Steele for the paints. Steele Graphics and Designs does a killer job with the paints. I got to thank you guys in the broadcast, Adam for putting it on. And I'm looking forward for Talladega because I got to try to win again after I won Daytona.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, congrats again on the P3 finish, and we will see you next week.
Yes, sir.
Well, folks, that wraps things up right here at Watkins Glen International. As Chris Murphy, we have had quite a night tonight.
It's been a heck of a race. It was a lot of fun to watch, through the mid-pack anyway, because there wasn't a lot of racing up front towards the end. But, it's also fun sometimes to just watch a guy dominate when you got somebody that's just that good as Ballet was tonight and just putting on a show. Really, again, feel bad for him losing out there at the end. But once again, Dave, just blast working with you. Hopefully we get to do it a little more often going forward. But thanks for having us tonight, for sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, when I claim dibs on somebody, I mean it. So I appreciate hanging out with you. And, of course, it's like watching a race with a friend, and we're just sitting here talking smack the entire time. So that's always a nice way to go through hump day here on a Wednesday night. So for myself, Dave Regal, and my broadcast partner extraordinaire, my brother from another mother, Mr. Chris Murphy, we want to thank you for tuning in tonight here on YouTube. And, of course, make sure that you do subscribe and turn on those bell notifications right here on Sim Racing Media, and we thank you for spending that time with us. And tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.